share this on Twitter, and then we'll get to it. And we're live with another episode of BS Busters. And stuff's about to get real, if you will. I'm joined by Kenoshi and jewel rider Moonstar. So before we go any further, let's have everyone introduce themselves, starting with the lady first. So Jewel, if you're there, if you would introduce yourself. Okay, then Kenoshi, introduce yourself.
This is Kenoshi Abominito. Glad to be on another one of these BS Busters. And if you bought a 2080 Ti in the past couple of weeks, I feel sorry for you. I feel very sorry for you.
Go slap yourself.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Check your butthole, because I guarantee probably Nvidia rammed something up your
trying
butt.
to screw you over again?
No, it didn't try, because you bought it. They did, and you paid them to do it too. Like, here, take my money and stick something up my butt.
Okay, and sorry, I think I had a mic problem for a moment.
That's okay. Well, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Oh boy. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to the BS Busters Midweek Podcast. I am Joe Wright, Eli Moonstar, and oh brother, how many companies have gotten in trouble this week?
Well, I mean, you know, I wasn't aware any of them got in trouble this week, aside from Square Enix with that microtransaction mess that is their Avengers game.
There's the company that was screwing over another recently that I heard. If I got it right, it's because they were trying to keep one company out of a license deal because they broke the deal by not paying somebody.
Oh, you must be talking about that indie game that they basically shit on the studio that made the game, the publisher did, and then the new publishers tried to do the same thing. They got screwed.
Oh, yeah.
They got screwed coming and going.
It was Frogwares. They were the ones that got screwed over twice over.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks when you get screwed over twice, coming and going. But what can you do? So with that being said, let's talk about it's been kind of quiet aside from the normal shenanigans these bastards get up to, as we know. So with that being said,
kind of surprising considering that it's September.
What?
Because I said it's surprising considering it's September. I thought we'd be hearing a little bit more noise before it's October.
No, things are ramping up. September, October, November. Shit is gonna be wild all the way up to November. Gameplay wise, politically, everything. It's gonna be wild until then.
Let's keep our lane. You don't need the politicians on our case.
It is, because I mean, just looking at gaming, I mean, the big games are dropping in November. In November. The big games of this year are dropping in November. Now, we haven't heard shit from Nintendo, although I'm pretty sure they'll have something coming out. I mean, and I know some people say, what about that Pikmin 3? I am not considering that a big game. I refuse
to say, as much as I would like to try to play it again at times, I am not going to be happy knowing that that's coming again, because some people were crying about it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I said because of people crying about it.
I'm not.
Not because of the business.
No, the game isn't bad. It's just I'm not a quiver to play some shit I already own. But that's just me. You know, I'm that guy. I don't want to play shit that I already own.
Yeah, but I was about to say that most of the people that that dumped on the previous system are going to be cheering in joy because they get to play it and don't have to suck a U.
Well, I mean, you know, that's good for them, but I mean, like if a game is ported over from the Wii U to the Switch or the GameCube to the Switch, the inferior version is going to be on the thing it was ported to, not the original. Unless it's a game that's like a dual release. Dual releases, it can sometimes go either way.
Your mileage may vary, right?
Well, it's just either way. Like, okay, like Twilight Princess is, I mean, both versions are pretty good. Twilight Princess on.
I thought you were going to aim Breath of the Wild for that one.
Well, I mean, I'm saying it can go either way. Twilight Princess can go either way. Like, I prefer the Wii version, but I know some people prefer the
Cube.
for the GameCube version. I prefer the Wii version, but some people prefer the other version. But most versions are good, depending on what you like. I like the motion controls. I know some people don't, but you know, it is what it is. But
the game was made for one console, and was getting transferred into another because it was a mid-generation item. I'd say try the one of the older version first before you go into the newer one.
No, I've played both. I just prefer I prefer the Wii version over the GameCube version. The Wii version, the way basically how they utilize the unique control scheme of the Wii is like it. To me, the game feels better to play on the Wii than it does the Wii U. I mean, on the Wii versus the GameCube. But then you have something like Breath of the Wild, which that game was basically had features taken out of it in order to get it to run well on the Switch. And to be fair, I mean, it's really not that good either way. I mean, to me, it doesn't play that. It's not that fun either way. I don't know about the Wii U version because I haven't played the Wii U version, but I have played the Switch version, and that shit crashed on me 3 times while I was playing it. So, you know, I'm used to third parties not giving a fuck about optimizing a game on a Nintendo system, but when Nintendo themselves have a first party game where shit is not running properly, I get worried.
Yeah.
And not only is it their own game, it's a flagship title because Legend of Zelda, Mario, those are flagship titles for the system. So when their first party shit and top tier first party shit isn't running properly, I get a little
worried.
I get a little worried. You know, I pre-ordered Breath of the Wild. I'm not pre-ordering Breath of the Wild 2. I'll tell you that much. I'm gonna wait like a month. I'm gonna wait a month or two till that shit's out before I buy it. I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I don't trust it. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about some of the topics we have today. So today we have some game. We're going to talk about games we're looking forward to that are coming out the rest of September. So just next week we have on September 8th and the 9th we have Kingdoms of Amalor: Re-Reckoning coming out. We have the DLC for The Outer Worlds. Called Peril on Gorgon, which is nice because it'll give me a reason to jump back into the Outer Worlds. A surprisingly good game. Better than it has any business being. Let's see what else. There's another game coming out as well, but I forgot what it was. Here, I'll look it up. So, I mean, there's some good stuff coming out next week.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to Kingdom of Amalur.
Yeah, you've got Kingdom of Amalur 2. Let's see, what else? Ari and the Secret of Seasons has already come out. Marvel's Avengers, I'm not getting that game. Fuck that game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, already, it's coming out this week.
Pro Skater? Really?
Yeah, it's coming out this week. It's a remaster of 1 and 2, which are arguably two of the best Tony Hawk games ever made. Like no other Pro Skater game has been as well made as Pro Skater 1 and 2. Like, fans of that franchise will tell you 1 and 2 are the best. Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning already coming out September 8th. WRC 9 Inertial Drift. Spelunky 2 is coming to consoles. Crisis Remastered is coming out September 18th. I'm just going to tell you, anyone who's thinking about getting that game, if you own a Switch, do not get it for the Switch.
Hey.
What game is this?
Crisis Remastered. If you're getting Crisis, listen, okay, Crisis is a game that is built around being a graphical, open, like not even graphical, but just the amount of shit going on in this massive sandbox open world. And you don't want to play that game compromised. So basically, if you're going to get Crisis Remastered, you want to play that game on the most powerful hardware you possibly can in order to enjoy the full depth and breadth of the game.
You people in your graphics hounding.
Well,
come on.
Well, I mean, listen, okay. To be honest with you, most games, I would tell you, it doesn't matter whether graphics really don't matter. But, I mean, it's kind of like movies, right? Like, some movies are meant to be watched with surround sound and IMAX theater with Dolby surround sound. And, like, if you can't emulate that experience watching it on television. Even if you have a dynamite theater room in your house, you can't replicate that. You have to be in a movie theater to watch that shit. And this is like, I mean, there are games like that. There's some books that even if you read them, electronically, where it's like an ebook, it's not the same as like having the pages in front of you, moving them, turning page to page. Crisis is one of those games that you shouldn't play it compromised. I mean, hell, Metroid's one of the Prime games are one of those games that you shouldn't really play compromised. That's why Metroid Federation Force, while I enjoyed the game, it's a compromised version of Metroid Prime. And then putting it on the 3DS...
I'm sorry, I gotta laugh my rear end off. Seriously?
Well, I mean, the nature...
This is the reason why I sometimes don't take you seriously.
Well, the nature of a Metroid Prime game is that you're in this world, you're alone, and it's a living, breathing world. There's shit going on that Samus has nothing to do with. There's like animals flying around doing shit. There's wildlife doing shit. There's shit to scan. Metroid Prime had to compromise that vision, that design vision, in order to get it on the 3DS. Now, I understand what the guy was going for, and for Metroid Prime Federation Force for what it is, I enjoy it for what it is. But I mean, for people who are shallow and just wanted that Prime experience, I mean, putting it on the 3DS did not help sell that game. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, there's some movies that you can sit and watch at home, and you aren't missing anything that you didn't see it in a movie theater. There are other movies that, like, seeing it in a movie theater makes a difference.
Movies are one and done experiences, so excuse me.
Well, I mean,
that ain't
that is true, but here's the thing: you can rewatch movies just like you can rewatch games. And truly great movies, truly great movies, every time you watch a truly great movie, you get something different out of it. There's something new that you notice, or you get a more in-depth understanding of what's going on. Just like a truly great game, every time you play it, there's something new that you notice and something that you get. Now, are they a one-to-one the same? No, but they do share a few characteristics that a true benchmark characteristics that they do share together. And like I said, just like there's some games that it, like, okay, I recently read this article where they were talking about the new DLC for the Outer Worlds, right? And this guy was like, well, the Switch version has all these bugs. I'm like, what the fuck did you expect? You know, you're like someone who bought Street Fighter for the Game Boy, and you're mad that the shit doesn't play like Street Fighter on the SNES. What the fuck did you expect? Seriously, like what? Like, look, listen. If you get a game that has a lot of shit going on,
here's the thing that you're missing here. That if you put on a certain platform, I know the limits of that platform. In short, I know that if it's on the 3DS, it's gonna be catering to the 3DS in certain ways.
No, I don't.
If it's catered to the Switch, it's supposed to be on to the Switch in certain ways too.
Well, I wasn't using that as a one-for-one example. I was using it I was just pointing out the similarity of the situations. Point is that the Switch at its core is if you're playing on the Switch, you're essentially playing on a tablet, okay? No one on planet Earth it's a heavily modified tablet, but it's a tablet. You shouldn't expect you're going to get the same performance and have the same gameplay experience playing on a fucking tablet as if you were playing on something that from the ground was built to take advantage of what the base code of that game is supposed to be. Okay, for a food example, it's the equivalent of someone saying, hey, I got a frozen pizza, versus, hey, this is a pizza that was made at a famous pizzeria where they had the dough from scratch and they let the dough rise and they rolled it out and they put it in the wood-fired oven. No, that frozen pizza is not going to be to the same tier as the shit made at the restaurant. So why even complain about, hey, this frozen pizza don't taste like the shit made at the restaurant? No shit, Sherlock, shut the fuck up. like that's my point. It's like people complaining. It's like, look, if you buy a multi-platform game on the Switch, and the Switch isn't the lead platform for that game, it's probably gonna be a shitty port. That's all I'm saying. So don't act surprised when the shit doesn't run well, or you're getting the same shit we've gotten on Nintendo platforms for years. It's like, oh, it's a third-party multi-plat. It's like it's on the Switch. Well, it's basically the Switch is like.
I was about to say that if it was made for the Switch, or it's only going to the Switch, I know that it's at least going to be a certain quality.
That's what I said. When I said that
a third party,
Jewel, you don't have to explain it. When I said that the Switch is the lead platform, if it isn't the lead platform, you can't expect quality. If it is the lead platform, then it's like, okay, it was made for this system. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the game being on the system.
I felt that, and here's the thing that's probably going to upset you in a little bit. I feel that the Federation Force was made for the 3DS.
Oh yeah, it was made for the 3DS. The problem is that it's in the Prime series, and the other three Prime games are made for consoles. It's an experience that is like you're supposed to get lost in that world. Federation Force, due to the limitations of the hardware, they had to cut back a lot of the aesthetics that make a Prime game, and it suffered to Prime. It's to Prime fans. It suffered to that. Of course, calling yourself a Prime fan is kind of weird because like the highest selling Prime game is the first one, I played the entire series. The first Prime game, not that good. Like really, Prime 2 is better than Prime 1, and Prime 3 is better than Prime 2. Like the series got better with each iteration, and yet the sales went down, which is kind of weird, but whatever. But anyway, Crysis is coming out, and I'm just saying, look, listen, okay, back in the day, Crysis was this graphical tour de force. Not only graphics, but the physics engine, like, okay, like now we take this shit for granted, but literally, let's say you had to disable a beacon at some village, right? Like now we take it for granted that you have 2 or 3 different ways to basically take out that beacon. Crysis back in the day when it was released was so advanced with its physics engine and the gameplay engine that you had like 30 different ways to disable that beacon, and the computers at the time couldn't handle the shit. Okay, that was back then. Like literally, it took about 3 years for graphics cards to get to the point where you could fucking run Crysis the way it was meant to be played. Now here's the thing, that was the lead platform for Crysis back then was PC, all right? Because that was the only way that you could really enjoy that game the way it was meant to be played. Now here's the thing, okay? Now it's being remastered. And it's still, like, right now, they showed some footage of the shit running on a high-end PC. The shit looks great. I'm not a graphics whore, but I'm like, damn, Crysis looks great. Now, why the fuck, if I wanted to play Crysis, why the fuck would I want to play Crysis on a system where it's going to be heavily compromised and shit's going to be stripped down to get it to run? Why would I do that?
You expect a certain quality.
So I can play it over the shitter while I'm taking a shit? Really? I can play it from bed. No! What the fuck's wrong with you? I mean, and here's the thing. Look, listen. I know that's my subjective opinion, but here's my objective opinion. If you get Crysis remastered for the Switch and it plays like ass, you don't get to fucking complain, because why would you play it on a system where you know it's going to be compromised so that it could run? Like that doesn't make sense to me. You know, it's like,
yeah, I'm gonna facepalm here.
Like someone complaining about a game that the Switch is not the lead platform, so it wasn't made for the Switch.
I was gonna say that if it's running properly, and I know the graphics are not going to be at the best of its abilities, but if it can run properly and it plays properly, I could at least say that it could be judged properly as far as gameplay goes.
I mean, look, listen. I'm not against them. I'm not against people porting games over to a less powerful system, and basically.
Yeah, this is where I'm saying you graphics whores are.
But here's the thing.
Incomparable.
Typically speaking, don't say you graphics whores, because typically, to be honest with you,
I normally be calling you that one.
Well, it would be an unfair assessment, because most of the games I really like to play are not graphical tour de forces. I really.
You're defending them, that's for sure. But
I'm not.
If anything, I said that if the game is able to be played decently without any heavy problems and can be controlled properly, then it's at least a good game to judge with.
I'm not
depending on the graphics.
I'm not defending graphics whores. I'm saying that people who buy the game on the least powerful hardware, and this game is not being built from the ground up to take advantage of the Switch's hardware. It's literally being stripped down to run on the system. Now, here's the thing. Personally speaking, I mean, I'm probably going to get Crysis Remastered. I'm not getting it for the Switch. But I mean, there's games that came out on the Switch, and people were complaining this game doesn't run well. Yeah, because it's on the Switch. I mean, and it wasn't made for the Switch. It wasn't made for the Okay, there are games back okay. Think about it. Think about it during the 7th gen, where the Wii was the weakest console, right? Remember?
That is something I get already. Here's the thing. I said that if the game is running properly, as in you could control it decently without having any big issues, then it shouldn't be a problem to judge it for what it can do.
So,
and saying that the work and trying to say that it's that the reason it's going to be terrible is because of the graphics that's running, then it's seriously going to be tampering.
I wasn't talking about the graphics. I was saying that having features, because graphics are not a feature. Graphics are just the aesthetics of how it looks. When I say features, I mean can the processor inside of the Switch handle this massive physics engine that has 30 different ways to deal with a certain problem? Can it handle the AI that needs to be done? Can it handle the millions of various calculations it needs to do in order to handle that engine that way? Can it handle that? Probably not.
That's what I was about to say. That if the game could be controlled and works properly, then you could then judge what it can do if it goes through the same processes over and over, or if it goes into a different process.
Now, I mean, as I was saying before you cut me off, the Wii, had a lot of these similar things, but the difference is that a lot of those games were rebuilt from the ground up to take advantage of the Wii's hardware deficiencies. For example, Ghostbusters, one of my favorite games. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the Wii version of Ghostbusters, even though the Wii version of Ghostbusters has quote-unquote cartoony graphics, but the underlying features that are in both games are the same. The gameplay is the same. A lot of the levels are fundamentally the same. However, how you complete those levels is a little bit different. The underlying how certain the order of events. Some of the levels are a little bit different, but I don't mind that. That doesn't bother me. I mean, you had the same thing back in the day during the SNES, during the 16-bit console wars, where the Genesis was actually the weaker console, but that didn't stop them from games being on both systems. And sometimes the Genesis version was much better than what was on the SNES, and vice versa. So I have nothing against games being ported down. Daikatana, the best Daikatana game is on a Game Boy Color. It was made for PC, but the best version of that game is on the Game Boy Color. So really, it's not so much the graphics, it's just, are you going to take advantage of the hardware?
Hey, what's up?
Kenoshi?
Huh?
Okay, whatever. So anyway, we also have WWE 2K Battlegrounds, which is a arcadey wrestling game.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, well, the only reason this game came out is because the only reason this game came out is because basically 2K last year was a piece of shit.
I was about to say, did they even try to improve?
No, it was just a piece of shit. It was a steaming pile of dog shit.
I said, did they try to improve? Because I know they're beep. I'm just wondering if they even attempted to try to improve.
I don't know. I mean, this one's kind of a throwback to the arcadey beat 'em ups from back in the day, kinda, sorta. I mean, if you like those types of games. Then we have 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. It's a Sega. It's one of those weird ass Sega games. That's all I can really say. Where you create a team of characters who fight giant kaiju monsters in mechs. So it's like a strategy game.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to duck out early.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, peace out.
Later.
Then we've got Mafia Definitive Edition, which, I mean, That's September 25th. Like, here's the problem with Mafia. The game is really hard to play. It's not a good game, is what I'm saying.
I was gonna say there's some things I was gonna wonder if they even tried to polish it.
Well, I mean, the thing about Mafia was that when it came out, people were thinking it's going to be like GTA, except set in the 1930s. It is not like GTA set in the 1930s. The open world feels lifeless. Driving in the city is boring. The gameplay is stiff and uninspired. So, like, them remastering the game, like, unless they fix the underlying issues with that game, I don't know if them remastering it is going to make it any better, if you get what I'm saying.
You could give a zombie a new coat of paint or new limbs, but it's still a zombie, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, they can cover it whatever they want to, but unless they fix the underlying problems with the game, it's not gonna work. It's like when Nintendo did the remake of Link's Awakening and didn't fix that shitty ending, where Marin turns into a bird. I'm like, really? You remake this entire game, you can't even fix that shitty ass ending?
I was about to say the only thing I can think of about that would be that they're at least keeping to the original, though.
Let me put it this way.
Keeping that close to the original can be a little bit of a double-edged sword.
Let me put it this way. In the Samurai Jack game, the one that they just released, Battle Through Time, if you beat the game perfectly and you do the right order of events, you can get an alternate ending to Samurai Jack, where basically his wife doesn't die at the end. So basically, they make a game that fixes the shitty ending of the show. That's what you do when you remake a game, or you fix what was fucked up. You don't just remake the shit and make it worse, or don't even attempt to make it better. So basically, with Mafia Definitive Edition, I mean, they'll probably, whatever. The next one is Monstrum, which comes out September 25th. It's, I don't know what it is. I guess it's kind of basically trying to channel, what's it called? It's trying to channel Silent Hill, or Silent Hill or Clock Tower. So, if you like survival horror games, then Monstrum might be for you. Port Royal, it's a pirate game. You like pirate games, then this is for you.
And no, he's not talking about pirating things off the internet.
No, it's a pirate game, kind of like what's the word? Pirates of the Caribbean. If you ever played that game, Sid Meier's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Although Sid Meier's Pirates of the Caribbean is a little bit more arcadey and accessible than Port Royal. Like, Port Royal is more of a sim, whereas Pirates of the Caribbean is an adventure game with sim elements.
Yeah, I think I get that one. It's just that I was saying in case somebody was thinking of a different kind of pirate.
No. Although there is a game called Indie Game Developer, where basically they leaked a pirate SKU of the game on torrenting sites and people downloaded it. And basically what happens in the pirated version of the game is that basically as your games get better, as the games you release get better, more and more people start pirating it and you make less money until you eventually go broke. So, I mean, the whole game is just trolling people who pirated the game. I think that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny.
Then we have Troll Hunter. It's a Defenders of Arcadia, which is, I mean, it's basically one of those cheap cartoon tie-ins. So, cheap cartoon tie-in. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. So if anything, I'm surprised that you didn't go with Shaolin versus Wu Tang.
I think that's already out on everything at this point.
I was about, really?
Yeah, I think it's already
Because I was checking the day and it's come out on the 7th.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going. The thing that they gave me was for PS4 games, not
Oh, okay.
everything. Although, I mean, because I'm pretty sure that's already out on PC. And the last thing we have is RPG Maker 15. Sorry, 25. No, 35.
How many are there?
It's MV, and the Roman numeral for MV is
MV. That's 15, isn't it?
no. I'm looking it up.
Oh.
No, it's 1005. There can't be that much. That must be like the code number or something. But basically, RPG Maker
Yeah,
MV.
that confused me for a bit because if it was XV, I thought it would be 15, but MV, that's 1005.
I got off of it off of XV, which is 105. So this is 1005. Okay, that makes sense. 100 XV is XV is 105, and so MV is 1005. So basically, it's an RPG Maker engine, which lets you create your own games, and it's for the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. It's already on PC, so if you can get it on sale, go for it. If you want to make your own RPG Maker games,
yeah, you will be constrained because of the assets that you have on the system, and you can't import your own. But
well, that's not true. If you have it, I don't know on the Switch and consoles, but I know on
that's how
PC.
it's saying the consoles.
Yeah, on PC, you can download all of these. On PC, you can go to the shop for MV and buy assets, or you can get people to make assets and get them for free. So really, if you're going to use an RPG Maker, any of them, it's better to just use them on PC. Yet another thing that if you get it on the Switch or the PlayStation, why? It doesn't make sense to put an RPG Maker on a console.
Yeah. So if anything, it is pretty neat to at least try to figure out how to make an RPG.
Well, I'm going to keep it real. I have used RPG Maker up to XV. That's my limit.
That was your, yeah. The thing is, as I was saying, that your mileage may vary depending on the version that you got.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I could use MV if I can use XV, because once they switch to XP, once they switched to XV and MV, they started using scripting instead of triggers to trigger events. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you can understand Ruby script, the Ruby scripting system, which I'm not ultra familiar with it, but I can do it enough to make like a simple game.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you could, depending on the version that you got, you can be able to understand it to a degree, but it kind of bites you in the rear end if you are not aware of how certain actions work on that system.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the flaw with
Maker games.
Oh, that's kind of the flaw of Maker, is that, like, instead of keeping the same system so you could kind of get used to the whole damn thing, you just, like, basically they switched it out after XP to XV, and that's just difficult to use. But whatever. So anyway, moving on. If you like RPG Maker, though, if you like making, like, I don't really like RPG Maker, like, personally, but I like playing RPG Maker games.
Yeah. If anything, I'm at least exploring it, as in seeing what it does. So
Yeah, the downside of it all is that you've got to learn how to, if you're going to use the modern ones, you got to learn how to use Ruby, the Ruby scripting system, which is a motherfucker, to learn. Because, I mean, not really difficult. It's just if you're used to XP and 2000,
and triggers.
it's all triggers.
Then
With XP and 2000, it's all triggers. So it's like, okay, this character walks to this point, it triggers this event. This character walks to this point, it triggers that event, and it's much easier to like. Because before I figured out how to use to make games, I used RPG Maker XP in 2000 to hack my characters. Yeah, I figured out I was hacking before. Yes, I was. I would use it to hack RPG Maker games, and I don't feel bad about it. But anyway,
you had fun.
well, yeah. I mean, like people look. Don't get it twisted. I am a. I did do some hacking. All right.
Floor is yours.
So anyway, as I was saying, keeping it moving, keeping it moving, keeping it moving. Um, so anyway, those are some of the games coming out in September. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the new DLC for the Outer Worlds and the Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. I am. I know some people are going to be like, "What? How could you? Why are you looking forward to that?" I don't know. I kind of like it.
But of course, your mileage may vary.
Well, I mean, Kingdoms of Amalur, the game isn't like the story isn't that good. The gameplay isn't that good, but I mean, the story isn't that good for an RPG. But man, do I love the gameplay. Like the combat in Kingdoms of Amalur is so satisfying. And I love that. Like I like shit like that. That shit like that just gets it for me. I
Six
like.
of you.
Well, I really like that. I like games that basically do stuff like that. That's what I like. That's my that's what basically kind of, gets me. So yeah, that's my how can I put this? That's
Yeah.
my yang. That basically ruins it for me. Like if you give me a game that lets me do that, that just destroys me.
All right.
But anyway, um, so we have some other news. Warner Brothers Interactive is purportedly not for sale anymore. So Warner Brothers finally figured out, hey,
Warner Brothers has managed to, so they managed to escape the hand of a of a grappling hook.
we don't need to sell our shit. Which, to be fair, they shouldn't have ever really been trying to sell their stuff in the first place. Just to be honest, they really shouldn't have. Like, I don't know why they did that. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. So let's see. What else? What else do we have coming up here? So yeah, they basically what happened was is that AT&T was like, shit, we're $109 billion in debt. We need to get out of some of this debt, so let's sell our gaming division. And they're like, oh, we're taking it off the table. The fact of the matter is that even if they sold their gaming division, it was gonna maybe at the most, if they were gonna sell it, at the most they were gonna get maybe 10 billion. I know, probably less than that. Probably like 5 billion, and the people would have wanted to buy the video game rights too. And there's no way on God's green earth that Warner Brothers is going to say, oh yeah, you can get access to all of our, Batman video games. That shit ain't happening. And we're not selling Mortal Kombat either. So, as we all know, that shit didn't work out the way they anticipated. So, with that being said,
at least they managed to keep themselves alive for now.
I mean, to an extent, I mean, the problem with, in my humble opinion, the problem with, the problem with Warner Brothers is that AT&T spent way too goddamn much money buying Warner Brothers when they should have just done a merger. Instead, they bought each other, and that just did not work out the way they were anticipating. It wasn't a smart move.
So the two were trying to buy each other, kind of went south, right?
No, AT&T and Warner Brothers had a relationship before they got bought. They bought each other out, but then they bought each other out, and it's like, because don't forget, Warner Brothers at the time they owned Comcast.
Yeah.
So basically, you have AT&T, a telecommunications company, buying Warner Brothers that also held Comcast, another telecommunications company. I mean, really, whoever okayed those mergers should have been shot because.
Sorry, my name is April. Yeah, I use
because
my
merging two companies together usually doesn't end well for somebody.
Well, merging companies that already hold a virtual monopoly in their fields was not a good thing. It's think of it like this. Think of it like this.
I'm surprised the antitrust laws didn't trigger then.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying whoever okayed that merger needs their ass beat because that's just really kind of shouldn't have been allowed. Think of it like this, okay? What if McDonald's and Burger King merged? What if Coke and Pepsi merged?
Those are monopoly triggers.
Yeah, that's like literally you should never there needs to be competition within the thing. But really there's three major soda companies. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and I think Canada Dry. And Canada Dry
is hard to find.
Well, they're like Canada Dry is like a completely separate. The three soda monopoly. There's Pepsi. There's Coke.
And
I'm looking it up. There's Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Dr. Pepper Snapple.
It's funny that I actually am, and with I like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. And I think Dr. Pepper also owns Canada Dry. So basically, you have this monopoly where these three companies essentially,
they run all fuzzy drinks.
Well, most of them. I mean, you have a few regional companies that have carved out a niche and still kind of
stand out.
Can do some stuff, but most of the time it's just bullshit. I mean, where you are in Georgia, don't they have RC?
There's no RC in our neck of the woods.
Okay, so that's okay. So in Florida, they have a local soda called RC Cola, Royal Crown. Now RC,
there's some of those down further south. That's what I was thinking.
yeah, RC is trash. RC Cola is trash. I mean, literally, and here's the thing: RC Cola is more like if you get an RC Cola is more expensive than a comparative bottle of Coke.
I am kind of glad I don't have RC then.
Well, I mean, none of it's good for you. Although I will say this much: RC does have some really great flavors of soda that is like more esoteric flavors, like champagne cola, blue.
I was about to say
Blue
they actually
Rush.
have the weird flavors.
Yeah, their weird flavors are great. Pina colada soda, weird ass shit like that. And nothing can beat a good RC cola with great flavored soda. That's great. But their Coke is terrible. Their Coke is absolute trash.
Yeah, the thing is, I usually can measure a soda company by 3 flavors: Coke, their lemon lime or Sprite, and root beer.
RC's root beer is kind of trash. Their lemon lime, well, no, there is no company. Okay, no, that's not true. There is no chain that has shitty lemon lime except for store brand. Store brand lemon lime is trash. No matter where you go, if it's a store brand lemon lime, it's gonna be trash.
I'm actually surprised you could say that, because I was actually wondering if there was any brand names that had bad lemon lime or Sprite.
Oh, there are. Like I said, if you go to a store and they have a store brand of soda, the store brand is typically going to be the store brand. Anything is going to be trash. Store brand cola is trash. Store brand root beer is trash. If it doesn't taste like trash, it's going to go flatter than a. It's going to go flatter than a. Well, I was about to make a vulgar joke.
One note.
Now, I was about to say something really kind of disgusting, and then I stopped myself. But basically, it's going to go flat really quickly.
Yeah, I could make the joke for you. This thing will go flatter than a music note.
No. I was going to say flatter than an old lady's breasts, but I kind of stopped myself. Because I was like, that's too far. But basically what I'm saying is this. Okay.
Even among the big companies, the store-bought brand, they always go dead last.
Yeah, basically...
Especially when it comes to lemon lime, apparently.
A shitty store brand is one that goes fat, like, really quickly. Like, if you open a soda and it goes flat and within an hour, that's a really bad soda. Whereas really good soda, you can open it and then close it and put it in the fridge, walk away, come back the next day, open it, and it's like nothing happened. Like carbonation did not go down. And that's how Coke, Pepsi, even RC, if you put it in the fridge and get it cold, you have a quality kind of soda. Bad soda goes flat very quickly, and that's how you know it's bad soda.
Yeah. So at least that tells me where RC stands in the normal flavor trilogy.
I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not good either. Like RC's cola is, I mean, it's not the worst cola. It's better than generic store brand cola.
Yeah.
But that's not saying much. It's like saying, "Hey, man, this person punched me in the face."
It's like you're standing on a box and now you're taller.
No, it's like saying, "Hey, man, this person punched me in the face every day for 5 days, and then on the 6th day they just came up and poked me in the chest." It's like, well, that's better than getting punched in the face, but it's still kind of a violation of your space. Like RC Cola doesn't make the best soda, but their weird esoteric flavors are pretty good.
Yeah.
Like if you like weird ass flavors that don't make any goddamn sense, then you're gonna like that shit.
You roll your dice, but don't depend on RC for the trilogy of flavors, right?
I mean, the lemon lime is good. Their esoteric flavors are good. Their cola is not bad. It's just not to the same level as a Pepsi or a Coke.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize about Coke, everyone thinks cola is this dark. Cola, technically, the flavor of Coca-Cola is technically it's just a citrus. It's a citrus-based soda with caramel coloring added. That's all it really is. So it's the reason why Coke goes well with lime and tropical-based flavors, because Coke is technically a citrus.
A syrup.
Coca-Cola is a citrus-based soda, whereas Dr. Pepper is based upon, it's a lot of sugar and shit, but the general flavoring of it is it's a derivative. It's kind of like a cousin to root beer.
Ah, I see.
So yeah.
So one is more fruit toned, the other is more root beer toned.
Yeah, it's the reason why Coke goes so well with, like I said, Coke goes really well with shit like tropical based things like rum, beer, lime, stuff like that.
Yeah,
tropical stuff, tropical flavored stuff, Coke goes really well with. Because it's delicious. But anyway, yes, you do not want a monopoly. The other little bit of news, speaking of monopolies and people releasing shit that's kind of flat, apparently Sega is going to release a double pack to the Switch. Sonic Mania and Team Sonic Racing, and the first one, and the second one's going to be Sonic Forces and Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. They're trying to tie Sonic Forces with Monkey Ball.
Well, Banana Blitz is kind of shit. I got it on PC. It's not very good.
I was about to say, so bad Monkey Ball plus bad Sonic equals bad package.
Yeah, basically.
And what was the other pair? Sonic Team Racing and
Sonic Forces.
Mania?
Sonic Mania. Now, Sonic Mania is pretty good. Sonic Team Racing kind of sucks. But Sonic Forces and Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz is trash. It is not good at all.
So in short, there's only one good pair. And that pair is kind of handicapped.
Basically.
Yeah. So on one hand, we got Sonic and Amy, and the other hand, we got Knuckles and Road.
I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't played a good Sonic game in years. I think most of them are
a good Sonic game that is made by a Sonic team, or in general.
Just in general, I haven't played a good Sonic game in years. I don't think Sega has.
Ooh.
I don't think Sega can make the last good, truly good Sonic game I played was Lost World. But Lost World is like a good proof of concept. But had they made a sequel, they could have made it better. You know what I mean? Okay, I guess not. I guess she dropped. So essentially, Sonic the Hedgehog kind of, hasn't been good for years.
Okay. I lost connection for a moment, so
No, you came
sorry
back.
if I missed something.
I just basically said that Sonic the Hedgehog has been bad for years. I could say that the last few good 3D Sonic games I've played, Sonic Lost World, Sonic Unleashed, which I like, um, and that's it. Like, those are the only two quote-unquote modern 3D Sonic games I've enjoyed. The reason I like... And Unleashed isn't a good game, but I like the fact that they mixed it up by adding the Werehog levels that turned into a beat-em-up. And Sonic Lost World actually was a good concept, and had they made a sequel to it, they could have refined that concept. But Sega got scared and instead made Sonic Boom, which is a steaming pile of shit, really. They need to apologize for that game.
Highly. So, if anything, at least you could say Sonic Mania was made for the fans.
Yeah, but Sonic Mania is a 2D game, and Sega didn't make that game. Sega fans made that game.
That's the caveat. It's not from Sonic Team.
Do you know how fucking embarrassing that is? That's like Nintendo. We haven't released a 2D Mario game in years, so then we release Mario Maker, and some fans make a better Mario Maker game than Nintendo. Hasn't happened yet. There are no Mario Maker levels that are on par with or better than what Nintendo first party has made. Whereas Sega has the opposite problem. There are fan-made games that are better than anything that's come out of Sega's for years. That is embarrassing. Okay?
Yeah.
And they need to be ashamed. Okay? Someone needs to have a legit, like, come to Jesus moment at Sega and be like, you know what? We're fucking up.
We need to help.
Yeah, we need to get our shit together. And we're never going to get it because, Sega fans will just accept any regurgitated bullshit because they're Sonic fanboys or whatever. Now, and I know people are going to be like, but don't you play a lot of Sega games? Yeah, I like Yakuza, but Yakuza's been good for years. Like, I like good games, not games just because Sega made them. So yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say at this point. The games are kind of trash. But anyway, speaking of games being trash, I guess we can move on to the other topic, which are games. Our free topic, which I thought of the free topic while I was waiting for the podcast to start. And the free topic is games that made you quit a franchise. These made you throw in your card. You're like, you know what? I can't deal with it anymore. I'm done. I'm out. Do you have a game that's done that to you?
Surprisingly, I've been able to resist that.
A game that just made you say, I can't deal with this franchise anymore. Fuck it. I'm done.
In the normal game world, I haven't had that happen to me. In the card game world, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Really? What was the straw that broke the camel's back? What was the game where you're just like, you know what, man, fuck you? It's like,
it was when they went into the pendulums.
You mean the thing where it's random when you can use your special abilities?
Actually, it's this ability that allows you to summon barf monsters of between two different sizes. Like, if you got a 1 on one side and an A on the other, you could summon barf monsters from 2 to 7. And have nearly no problem in their summoning cost. And you can only do it once a turn, but you could summon nearly your entire hand onto the field.
And it was at that point you were just like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, because it's bad enough that we have a lot of special summoning going on in the game, but when you get into summon barfing, like you could throw your entire hand onto the field all at once.
And there's no limitation to what you can summon as long as it's in your hand using the pendulum. So even if you had something that normally you'd have to set up a complicated type of thing in order to summon, like conceivably you could have all the pieces of Exodia in your hand, use the pendulum, summon Exodia, and win the fight.
A caveat: if you get all 5 pieces of Exodia into your hand, you automatically
can automatically summon it.
But
well,
you could...
Okay, well, what if you had just some monsters that normally you'd have to sacrifice a whole bunch of other monsters to get that are really powerful?
Level 5 and up. Yeah.
And you're like, you know.
That was the summon bar thing.
These would be useless if I didn't have this pendulum card.
Yeah. You have to have 2 pendulums on either side of your field, and if the monsters fall between the ranks that they set, like as I said, one scale is at 1 and the other scale is at 8. If they're between 2 and if they're 2 through 7, you can summon them onto the field at once.
So conceivably, you could build an entire deck with those cards, with those monsters, and just basically just destroy people with them.
Especially if they're playing old school.
Wow, that's terrifying. I mean, I like the idea of it, but it's still terrifying. So, okay, I'll tell you a video game that made me just say, you know what, I'm done. Fallout 4 is the game that made me just say, you know what, I'm done. Not with the Fallout franchise, but Bethesda's take on the Fallout franchise. I'm like, you know what, I'm done.
Funny that they say. Funny if I remember right, Bethesda is going into another mess of a game situation. If I got it right, but go on.
Yeah, they're releasing Starfield, which is their take on a sci-fi RPG. Well, it's probably going to be some bullshit because it's Bethesda. And they like releasing trash.
I was about to say, the song "It Just Works" rings in your head now.
Yeah. And then he's like, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
Ooh, that's a harsh one. Oh God, now that song's stuck in my head. Thank you, Bethesda.
I mean, the thing that ruined that game for me, what basically made me say, you know what, I can't deal with this bullshit.
F this S, I'm out.
Yeah, it was the first 30 minutes of that game.
Don't tell me it was the armor, wasn't it?
That was a part of it. The first 30 minutes of the game where you figure out the twist and the overall point of the game in the first 10 minutes of the game, where like I'm gonna like this game at this point is over 5 years old.
Gets taken and your wife gets shot.
Yeah, and
while you're frozen.
And then you're frozen. You're cryogenically frozen again, and when you wake up, everyone's dead except for you. Here's the thing: you're searching for your son, but you were cryogenically frozen, which means you didn't age, but the world kept on going. So the son you're looking for is an old man, and when they show father in this game, you're like, oh, that's my son. You're like, oh. And they foreshadowed this shit in the first 10 minutes of the game. And then, to add insult to injury, they have the nerve, the fucking balls, to get to within the first 20 to 30 minutes of the game to give you access to one of the most powerful armors early on in the game. In the first, And they take one of the most iconic enemies in the Fallout franchise, an enemy that normally, like, okay, if you played any of the other Fallout games, from 2D to 3D, like Fallout New Vegas, when you saw Deathclaws coming, you were like, oh shit. In this game, apparently you can kill them easy.
I was remembering that somebody said that Deathclaws were normally a thing of worry.
Well,
in Fallout 4, they just turn them into bullet sponges.
In previous Fallout games, Deathclaws were basically pants-shittingly terrifying. Like literally, if you were going up against Deathclaws and you didn't have high-level equipment or skills to go up with your equipment, you just automatically knew you were going to get wiped out. Well, you just knew you were going to get wiped the fuck out. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to go back to my previous save and not come this way. That's your only.
I was about to say, unless you're good at sneaking, you are SOL.
Well, that's the thing. Deathclaws can turn invisible, and they have a high perception check. So sneaking's not going to work. Only thing you can do.
You gotta be kidding me.
No, the only thing you can do.
The only thing that you can do is restart.
Exactly. You go to an earlier. You go to a farther away to an earlier save, and you just don't go in that direction.
Yeah, because I thought the only way that you could get around by those things, if you're underleveled or have some really bad luck, is to at least try to hide and keep out of their range.
No.
But knowing that,
yeah,
it makes me wonder, why did they neuter those guys in 4?
Because they wanted to turn the game into a power fantasy in order to make people feel powerful. But that's not the point of Fallout. Fallout is you're in a shitty world and you're making your way.
It's a survival game. I was about to say, it's like a survival game set in Las Vegas of sorts.
Well, I mean, not just Las Vegas. Basically, you're in a world where something horrific happened, and you're just one person trying to survive. That's it. You're not the chosen one. Fallout, you are not the chosen one. You're just somebody just trying to survive, and that's it. You know. You're not the one, and yet Fallout 4 suffers from the same problem that Skyrim does, which is where they want to make you into this ultimate super powerful character.
Test.
So anyway, so I guess we're about to wrap this up, but we have one more thing to go over, and that is unpopular opinions. So shall you go first, or shall I go first?
I'll try to go first because I got unpopular opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is probably where Dungeon Masters. I'm sorry I'm going at you guys again, but hear me out on this. Why do you guys not take full control over how those mini fortresses get to come out? I had some weird players trying to say that they can use this by having a minion float in the sky, say that the minion is ground, and then after speaking the word, splat.
Well, that's
while that's a creative way,
yeah,
I'm surprised that people are counting ground like that.
I mean, I think that's just creative problem solving. Basically, the better a DM is, the more they'll take into account that the people that they're DMing for will do creative problem solving. Like personally, I like creative problem solving. Not all the time, because sometimes you've really crafted this one encounter and you're like, man, it's gonna be badass, and they're gonna have an awesome fight on their hands, and then someone does some shit where you're like, man, you just completely negated my huge boss fight I was gonna set up. Ah, fuck.
thing that makes me worry a little, because if you cre- if you give your players a powerful item too soon, you probably just bent yourself over with your own D20s going right for your rear end.
Yeah, if you basically, it depends on what type of campaign you're running. If you're running a campaign where you're giving out magical items of like a decent tier to a lot of people, what happens? You have to add enemies that are commensurate to that power creep, and a lot of people forget to do that. Now, the way D&D is now, what happens is, sorry, what you need to do is, see, now in D&D, it's not so much power creep, it's what can kill characters relatively easily is just throwing lots of enemies at, is the amount of enemies being thrown at you. That really can do it.
I was going to say, which probably makes the joke of 48,093 orcs makes more sense.
Well, not even that. If like, okay, unless you have a really powerful magic user who has some good AoE or control spells, if you just send a large horde of goblins at someone, decent level goblins who are actually smart enough to know how to fight in groups, or kobolds, oh shit. If you have a group of 5 adventurers fighting their way into kobold warrens, where the kobolds know the territory, it's going to be filled with traps and murder holes and poison traps. And I mean, you could wipe out an entire party. I don't care if you do have a ring of +2 strength. You're going to you're fucked. That party is fucked. In the way in D&D 5 now, they're fucked. They are, especially if you want to just kill a party of adventurers. That is the best way to do it.
I was about to say, especially if they're mostly melee classes. Oh
yeah,
God!
But even if they aren't,
the Home Alone joke.
Even if they aren't melee classes, let's say you have a ranger, right? The ranger walks on what they think is solid ground in the middle of a fight. They walk on what they think is solid ground. It turns out that the kobolds have tamed these giant spiders, and they basically use them like we would use sheep or cattle, right? Let's say sheep and goats. So they got the silk from this spider, and they've used it to create a false floor. Then they pull a thing, the false floor falls, the fucking ranger falls through this floor and lands on these spikes. These spikes that the kobolds put in the bottom of this pit that are smeared with kobold shit. Because kobolds fight like that, okay? And so they're poisoned. So they get stabbed. Yeah. So your ranger gets stabbed. They're poisoned because they landed on spikes that are tipped with kobold shit. Or, if the kobolds aren't that degenerate, just random vermin that are around their home shit. And just normal poison, because kobolds like poison. Yeah,
not only will they have to deal with damages that are probably equal to 5d10s.
They're poisoned.
20d10s.
They're poisoned, but
they have to deal with poison.
And if the DM really wants to be an asshole, have them have different types of poison. Like, oh well, you've been hit with paralysis. Oh, you've got to do a Constitution save against that. Oh, you've been hit with a lingering poison that's slowly killing you. Oh, you got to do a Constitution save for that. It's like, I mean, listen. D&D 5.
If your DM is a real rear end, be ready to face certain hazards if they really want to get you killed.
Yeah, listen, I have some videos on my channel where I've talked about some of my DMing days, but don't get it twisted. If I have to, I can totally kill some people if I need to.
Yeah. With me, I just see some of these DM stories and hear these personal tales of D&D and make me wonder, whoever is DMing these games, they might need some help.
I mean, It just depends on what type of DM you are. Like if you're just trying to get to the end of the story, then
Yeah.
you're just trying to tell an interesting adventure. But if you have one of those DMs a little anal retentive and just wants to, like, he wants to make everything into this epic do or die battle. Oh yeah, I mean, especially with 5.0, you can do all types of shit. Because really, difficulty now isn't so much based upon the level of the monsters you're fighting. Because if you have a
It's
party,
the amount.
yeah, it's the amount. So if you have like I said, if you have 5, 6 adventurers fighting, and there's like 30, 40 level 5s, and but the adventures are like level 8, level 9, level 10, but you don't have the right loadout, or you have moderately intelligent enemies, they can still get wiped out. I mean, it just, like, really, like, I mean, that's one of the good things about 5 is that they actually made it about numbers and not so much about levels, which is a smart move. I guess I should do my unpopular opinion now. My unpopular opinion is this. I think that this is going to be a very interesting holiday season. There's some big games coming out on everything. And even though I talk shit about Nintendo, I'm pretty sure they have something big coming out too, aside from Pikmin. But that being said, I mean, there's going to be so much good shit coming out. I'm not sure that I'm going to have time to play a lot of stuff. I really am not.
I was about to say, it depends on your taste, but still, that's going to be plenty of flavors to enjoy.
I mean, basically, here's the way I look at it. I'm going to have to pick like 2 games and just play the shit out of those, because I'm not going to have time to play anything else. So right now, I'm looking at Yakuza, Like a Dragon. That's coming out November 13th. And the other game I'm looking forward to is Cyberpunk 2077. So there you go.
If anything, I can understand, though. If anything, that makes me a little bit worried that you limit yourself to 2 games.
Well, because I mean, Yakuza is I mean, the new Yakuza is basically kind of like a turn-based RPG. So
Turn-based RPG.
it's going to be
Yeah,
the way the combat
I'm
is.
sorry. It makes me wonder if you're trying to keep from saying it's like Kingdom Hearts.
No, it's
Right, how it's looking.
because the previous Yakuza games were like beat 'em ups. This one is the combat is a turn-based RPG. Then you've got Cyberpunk 2077, which, while it isn't a turn-based RPG, it's a Western RPG. So, I mean, basically, I mean, you got these games that are just going to be huge time sinks. I'm not going to have time to play a lot of other shit. I'm just not.
I was about to say, those RPGs are known to be time sinks.
Exactly.
And while I can understand 2077, Yakuza, it kind of makes me wonder, really? Because usually that game series is a beat 'em up.
Yeah, but they're RPG beat 'em ups. Like Yakuza Kiwami and Kiwami 2. If you blaze through the game, you can beat it in maybe 30 hours. But if you want to 100% it, it's like a 60, 70 hour game. That's for both of the first ones. So those are like, that's a lot of time to put into a game. Cyberpunk, like I said, it's a Western style RPG, so you'll be putting a lot of time into that game. And Yakuza Like a Dragon, like I said, turn-based RPG set in the Yakuza universe. So, I mean, you're looking at 50, 60, 70 hours. If you want to do 100, if you want to 100% and do everything, that's a lot of time. I'm not going to have time to be playing a lot of other shit. And so those are the games I'm like, okay, I'm going to be playing this. So basically all I'm saying is this. There's just a certain amount of time. there's just a certain amount of time where I'm just not gonna have a lot of time to play a lot of games. So I got to be very judicious in how I spend my time. And even though I'm not spending as much time, like my hours at work are down from like 45, 50 hours a week to down like 20. So I have more time. Like there's other shit I want to do with my time aside from just playing video games. So I had to pick which games I want to play, and so those are the games that are getting my attention. So, whatever anyone else is coming out with, it better be something amazing, or I'm just not gonna give a fuck. And I don't care who it is, Nintendo, Sony, whoever. I don't care.
With your taste, I'm guessing it's gonna be Slim.
Y'all better come out with some shit that's amazing. That's all I'm saying. Now, maybe they will come out with some shit that's amazing, which would be awesome, but, I'm not holding my breath.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Now, I'm not holding my breath because I might hurt my lungs. But,
Sorry, you got me chuckling there.
I'm not holding my lungs.
So I think we covered everything.
All right, it's
yeah, that's it. So we've covered all of the unpopular opinions and everything like that. Anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Well, I'm actually surprised I would mention it, but yeah, I got remember when I was telling you earlier off air about something that I made recently that I do every Friday? Somebody actually did a review about it.
Your card game?
And I actually, yeah. I have to show it to you myself, but if anything, I actually am trying to work things out with the players that I do have currently. And I'm actually surprised of the stuff that they recommend.
Well, if it gets big enough, you might want to set up a Patreon so that people who play your game can get some type of remuneration from it to support it. So you're not like so much losing time and money into putting it into it. But that's just my own. That's my own 2 cents.
I'll have to think about it. But you're right. If anything, it can work. Just need to get ready if need be to see if it gets any more popular.
Well, I mean, think about it.
Now,
if you get like 20 people and you set your Patreon for like $5, right? And you get 20 people to give you $5 a month. Let's say Patreon takes, I think, 20%. So that'll be
about $2 or $3. Yeah.
That'll be 5 times 200. That'll be 5 times 20. That'll be 200. No. That'll be $100 a month, and they'll take 20 of it, so that's 80. But if you grow your Patreon high enough, you get some people doing it for $10 a month. That's a nice little bit of chunk of money.
All right. If anything, that actually be interesting to think about.
But,
at least if I start getting more people. But for now, I could at least say that it's pretty interesting so far.
Yeah.
Of what I've done.
Okay then. So, with that being said, in order to get in touch with the channel, you can reach me at mrredfoxbsbusters@gmail.com. You can also reach me at Twitter at mrredfox91, and there's a link to the Discord in the video.
And thank you for watching our video. If you got this far, remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Arrivederci, good night, farewell, and don't forget to hype responsibly and wash your beeping hands.
Yeah, and don't do stupid stuff, please.